Hello Upper Adams. Thanks for joining the website management team for another tutorial video. Today, we'll be taking a look at setting up a basic page. If you have any questions about logging in or maneuvering around the page, please see the basic navigation video. Here you can see the sample page that we saw in our basic navigation video. We already know that this page is made up of apps, small applications that load content onto our site. Changing the information in these apps will alter the front end or what the viewer sees of the site. So with our current apps, you see that there's an image, 2 flex editors, and a heading app. Let's look at how that looks on the front end, or how people see the site. Here you can see our image, our 2 flex editors, and our title. Let's click the X and go back and take a look at our page. But what if your needs are not met by the apps on the page? Or what if you want to rearrange your page so that different apps appear in different places? To do these things, you'll need to click on the Manage Apps and Layouts in the right-hand column. As you do this, notice that the outline box of the apps changes from a solid line to a dotted box. These dotted boxes show the layout of the page. It is the form of how your page will look. In this case, you'll notice that I have 2 columns of equal sizes. First, let's focus on moving the apps. When in this mode, and you'll know you're in this mode by the dotted box, you can simply click and drag the apps to a different location. So, for instance, if I want to move this heading above this flex editor, I just click and drag. You'll notice that it turns into a crosshairs when I'm able to move it. If I tell the site I'm done, and I view my changes, you'll see that the heading has moved to the top. Now before I move everything around, let's take a look at changing the page setup. So I'll click back on Apps and Layouts, and change the layout. Here you can see my 2 columns, but perhaps I want a large center column with 2 columns on the side. In this option I would also have something above and below. So I'll click that and say Apply. And here you can see the layout. Notice that I'll need to rearrange my apps so that it takes advantage of all the sections. If a section is left blank, such as this bottom section, it's just not viewable on the front end, so nobody would even know that that's there. So let's give that a try. Maybe I'll put my teacher heading up above with my name. I'll put my logo down in the center column. I'll leave my subject right under my name so it's like a subheading, and I'll put the Why Math flex editor that had my description of why somebody might be interested in math over on the side. I'm going to tell it that I'm done, and let's view the page. Now you can see that it's taken the form that we changed. We have our center logo, we have our title and our subheading, and over here was our description. But you'll also notice that the description has been crammed into this tiny little column. It would probably make more sense to have this in the center. So let's go back and see how we could change it. Back to Manage Apps and Layouts. I'm going to put Why Math in the center, and I'm going to move the logo over to the left. Here you can see the logo is now going to be in the left-hand column, and Why Math will be in the center. I'll tell it that I'm done. You can see that the changes have occurred, and let's view the website. And there you can see the change. This definitely looks a little bit nicer in the center column. Remember, different page layouts work best depending on the amount of content and how noticeable you want certain attributes to be. Try different arrangements until you find one that you like. Let's head back to the Manage Apps and Layouts. One more thing to remember is that if you don't want an app on your page, you simply click the X and get rid of it in the Manage Apps and Layout view. Now that we know how to maneuver apps, let's take a look at adding an app. After clicking on Add an App, you'll see that I have many options. Most of the names are descriptive enough to get an idea from the title. I'm going to use the Flex Editor, which was the one that was a lot like a word processor. In the Using Apps tutorial, we'll cover these apps down here. This is what's known as sharing, and it's a great way to automatically update information on your site. But for now, let's create new and give it a name. Click Create, and you'll see here's my new app. Let's put this down at the bottom, just so we can see what it looks like, and then I'll tell it I'm done. Now that I've returned to the page overview, and you can tell that it's the page overview because of the solid gray lines, I can click and edit my app. Click Save, and then let's take a look at our web page. There's our updated content. In the Using Apps video, we'll cover how to make an app's name show up on the page as well, like a header and other useful information. Now let's click on the white X and return to our section page by clicking the name at the top. Now that you know how to add apps to a page, you can use that information to create multiple pages. Simply click on New Page, give it a name, and then select a preset form. These pages have different preset apps and layouts, which might be helpful depending on your preferences. Remember though, you can always add or delete using the information that we've learned today. Finally, use the Organize Pages button to change the layout of your page. When you see the crosshairs, you know that you can move it. If you see a green line, that will mean it just places it beside the other pages. If you see a plus sign, that means it will nest it underneath. Another page is nestled under My Homework page. This can get quite complex. For instance, consider this example. Here you can see that this page has 2 pages nestled under it, and then each of those is already under Added Page. You don't need to get so elaborate with your first page, but it's nice to know that it's an option. For now, that concludes the information on setting up pages. If you have any other questions, please continue to watch the tutorials or email webmaster@upperadams.org. Thank you for watching.